When Couzens is next to be attacked, or is he, inside of HMP Franklin, also now known as Monster Mansion. And yes, before we get in the comments saying Wakefield's Monster Mansion, yes, Wakefield was the original Monster Mansion, or still is, because it primarily housed those type of offenders. A prison full of bacons. But Franklin, in the local press and the national press, more so because there is that many high profile, you guessed it, bacons inside the prison. Bacon bonds rhymes with nonce. But we see a bacon on this channel, and Wayne Couzens will be getting the piggy treatment very soon, I do believe, because when, I was going to say Ian Watkins got his treatment inside of HMP Wakefield, bled out within minutes and was gone. Then a couple of weeks later, Kyle Bevins got the exact same treatment. Bacons have been absolutely frazzled lately, and Wayne Couzens is one of the ones that I've done a video about, and he was in the top 5. Guess who was number 1? Yes, Ian Huntley. And where is Ian Huntley? Lying in hospital in a coma, looking like he's brain dead, and whether or not he makes it or not, I will keep you updated. But Wayne Couzens was a Metropolitan Police officer, and it was actually 5 years ago, yesterday, on the 3rd of March 2021, when he went on to use his warrant card and abducted Sarah Everard, a 33-year-old lassie, still classed as a lassie, a woman, on her way home in South London. He abused his trust, got his warrant card out, got her in the back of the car. What an absolute horror. She must have been fucking petrified in the back of the car when she realised something was untoward, and that horrible wrong'un went on to horrifically rape and murder her in the most horrible ways. And that crime horrified the UK and sparked national protests. So as you can imagine, a copper in a high security prison, a bacon copper in a high security prison, is going to be well on the line for prison justice. But the reason why he's up in Franklin is the same as Ian Huntley, because they think when they get him on ear wing inside of Franklin prison, they are maximum protected. But look at what happened to Ian Huntley. He was attacked by another fucking despicable bacon. Anthony Russell was serving life without parole. He raped and murdered a 30-year-old woman after he'd committed another 2 murders. And this horrible wronging as well. Wayne Couzens is also serving life without parole. And he is hated by the majority, I would say the majority of the public, apart from the ones that are like-minded like him. He'll not be hated off bacons, he'll be saying what a fucking boy. But he is hated off the normal fucking public. He's even hated off the coppers, the ones that he used to work for and work alongside. And he's hated off the prisoners. And guess what? He's even hated off the prison guards, because the way he goes on inside of prison, he still thinks he's got authority, and he still thinks he's a fucking copper. Because there's been loads of reports come out, and I've been told in emails and messages or whatever, that this absolute wrong'un swaggers around the prison, well, not the prison, sorry, swaggers around Earwing where he knows he's protected, and he tells the screws what to do, or he tries to, because he thinks he's still got that authority. He knows the prison rules now because he's read up on them. He knows what he's allowed and what he's not allowed, so he tries to play the system. And he got a fucking present sent in at Christmas time off his mother. That's how dumb he is as well, though. He's thinking he's got authority. Send the present up, mother, and they'll have to give us it because I'll hound them until they do. No one is allowed a fucking gift sent in whether you're an ex-copper or not. And he kicked up a fuss, putting reports in, putting complaint forms in, Comp 1As, which is a complaint form in prison which has to be answered by someone higher up. So when you do this, the screws in prison fucking can't stand you because you're putting reports in about the screws doing the jobs. But like I say, it comes from higher up, so they've got to get investigated because you get the form back and then you can go on and further investigate. There's a complaint form, and then there's a Comp 1A where it goes even further. So this wrong'un is pushing the buttons of the screws, demanding different things, and they hate him as well. So they'll all be chuckling when his time comes. And believe you me, people, it'll not be too much longer. Something will happen because he's never been attacked or never been attacked seriously since he's been in prison. But he's doing life without parole, and he's only been in 5 years. So he's got a long time ahead of him. And even after 1 year he'd been in, right, in 2022, Couzens had been allowed to purchase an Xbox 360 after reportedly demonstrating good behaviour. However, he is said to have complained with his fucking complaint form when he discovered that violent, adult-rated games were off limits. Reports at the time suggested he had hoped to play titles such as Call of Duty and Gears of War, but was restricted to non-violent alternatives instead. So he went on to complain. I'm over 18, I want to play these games. It's the prison fucking rules. It was the same when I was in. It used to be CDs, that's how old I am. It used to be CDs, and you couldn't, DVDs rather, CDs, I'm getting mixed up. DVDs, the discs, bit like a CD. So the DVDs, you couldn't watch over 18s, or you couldn't buy. You had to buy like a fucking 15 rated, and you couldn't get over 18s. You couldn't get horror films and the likes of that because you're all violent offenders and you're in a high security prison. But that same year, he went on to form an unsettling friendship with David Fuller. And if you don't know who he is, go back and look at my playlist. He is another absolute monster and predator. Well, that was his nickname, the Morgue Monster. Double murderer and serial necrophile known as the Morgue Monster. He was doing absolute horrid things for fucking over a decade, I believe it was, to all the dead bodies inside of the morgue. He worked in a hospital and he videoed himself after hours doing fucking absolute filth on the poor bodies that were lying there. So those two, fucking hell, those two sparked up an uncanny friendship inside of prison. I wonder what them two bacons were getting up to on association. In fact, I don't want to wonder. I don't know why I said wonder. I would hate to imagine I should have said what those two get up to on association time where you're allowed in each other's pads and you can close the door so no one knows what's going on behind that door. In April 2024, he went on to lodge a complaint after prison staff blocked a parcel sent by his mother. That was the one I've just been on about before. It contained clothing and a book, and he was gutted because he wasn't allowed them. He's not allowed clothing sent in. And guess what? To top this all off, this'll be another reason why a lot of people will be wanting to inflict prison justice upon this absolute horrid bacon. So Wayne Couzens is still in for a taxpayer-funded $7,000 a year pension. How can you be entitled to a pension when you've done this type of crime? Everything should be stopped and cut off immediately. Even the money that he was fucking owed for the days that he'd been working up to his job shouldn't have been allowed. It should have all been stopped. He should be on nil. He should be on nil by mouth, to be honest. So he was sentenced to the whole life order after that murder of Sarah Everard. But he is still set to receive his Civil Nuclear Constabulary Pension, CNC. This includes a 5-figure lump sum which he could be able to access from next year. lawyers for the government have been locked in a legal battle to have Couzens' pension taken away, but no decision has been made. He shouldn't get a fucking thing. He wasn't protecting the public. He wasn't doing his job properly. What else had he done? This couldn't have just been one-off spontaneous murder. He's obviously done things previously. There will be previous victims. There's got to be something before poor Sarah Everard. It's not just like I've just said, a spontaneous one-off thing. But it will be a spontaneous one-off thing when a prisoner gets a hold of him and gives him the prison justice and does exactly what happens to little piggies and gets turned into bacon. Well, he is a bacon, but you get me drift what I'm trying to say. I can't say it out too loud because you know what I'm saying. Mr. Piggy will be getting sliced. But I just thought I would come on and bring you that information, people, because there is some people been asking what's happening with Couzens, and I was going to do one. Then when I went online, he's popped up because it's a 5-year anniversary of poor Sarah Everard, rest in peace. And I was due to do this because I don't want, previously he was in one of my top 5 to get prison justice. He will be following Ian Watkins and Kyle Bevan. So don't be thinking he's having a cushy time inside of prison. He is not. He's on A-Wing. And A-Wing, because I got told from first hand, I even remember when I was back in Franklin myself, up on the normal location wings on the top, they used to say there was 4 bacon wings down the bottom. There's more now. But the 4 and A-Wing, they had to house the most high-profile bacons on there, like Levi Belfield, Wayne Couzens, the Morgue Monster, and Ian Huntley. These are the type that are on there. Peter Sutcliffe, he was another one who was on there, and we all know what happened to him. He had his eye took out in in a different establishment, but I might do an updated video on that, doing a historic event. But I'm going to leave that one there for now. But yes, A-Wing is where these beasties are housed, and Anthony Russell was obviously housed there as well. And they get handpicked by the screws and the governors because obviously with them being high profile, the governors and the screws, wait, not the screws, the governors don't want it happening in their prison. As much as when they're off duty and they hear it happening in another prison, they'll probably say, I'm glad he's getting it. But it's their prison, their fucking duty of care. They're the ones that's going to get reprimanded because they're going to say, there's an investigation. Why? Then they're going to have to answer for it. Why has this happened in your care? But they've done the best they can. They've housed all these beasts together. But most of these murders that happen inside of prison are beast on beast. An absolute beast fest. Anyways, people, I'm going to leave that one there for now. Remember, if you're enjoying the content, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video. Remember to comment, like and subscribe. But most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.